I'm on a journey to turn my favorite hobby into a successful business, but running a business while working full-time is a real struggle. And if you want to do the same thing, you'd better be ready for a grind, especially if you plan to run a high-volume, low-margin business like selling Pokemon cards online. Hey there. Harley here with HD Cards and Collectibles. I made the possibly dumb decision to start my Pokemon card business January 2025. And in today's video, I'm going to walk you through my second month in business, February 2025. I'll go over all the big events and decisions I made, all of my major accomplishments, the different challenges and mistakes I made along the way, and how I overcame them, my income and expenses for the month, and finally, my goals moving forward. So with all that in mind, let's get into it. If you remember from my last update video, I bought everything I needed to start my own website. So then I was left with a choice, either build it and let it sit, or buy stuff to actually stock the website. So I decided to go ahead and purchase some Japanese booster boxes to stock my website. I reached out to a ton of Japanese suppliers on Facebook and Instagram that first week of February. After reviewing all the price lists I received, I decided to go with the least expensive option, unsurprisingly. Unfortunately, I didn't order enough to qualify for bulk discounts, and I paid with PayPal goods and services, so I didn't get the cheapest possible rates at the time. But Terrestrial Festival and especially 151 have skyrocketed in price since I purchased them, and Battle Partners has remained pretty stable. And I've tried to price everything as competitively as possible, so be sure to check out hdcollectibles.com. I spent $1,484.93 on booster boxes to stock my website. They arrived the following week, and once it arrived, I opened the box to check its contents. The 151 boxes seemed a little bit suspicious to me because of the shrink wrap, so I popped one open, cracked a pack, and ripped a card just to do the ink test. Luckily it passed the ink test and everything else looked pretty legit, so I went ahead and ordered some boxes from uline.com. That way I would actually be able to fulfill orders. I spent $631.07 on Uline, and the reason why I went with Uline over Amazon, even for a small order, was because I couldn't find boxes that would fit Japanese booster boxes perfectly on Amazon. I wanted something similar to Uline's Indestructo boxes. I think they're more commonly known as literature mailers. And Amazon just didn't have the right size, so I went with Uline. And I did make a mistake with ordering one of the sizes of boxes, but we'll get to that later. The boxes came in super quick, so I was able to publish my website on February 16th, which is a very special date for me. It's my wedding anniversary. On that day, my wife and I were lucky enough to celebrate 5 years of marriage. And other than celebrating with my wife, there was another really cool thing that happened that day. I emailed the team at TC Guardian and was able to secure an affiliate account with them. If you haven't heard of TC Guardian before, it's a fantastic product for shipping cards. They make these little craft cardboard protectors that do a fantastic job of protecting your cards during shipping. I use them for shipping cheap orders in envelopes and expensive orders in bubble mailers, and since using them, I haven't had a single complaint about a damaged card. And if you'd like to check them out, be sure to use the affiliate link down in the description for 5% off your order. And like I said, it is an affiliate link, so in addition to the discount you'll receive, you will be helping me out as well. So thanks for that. Oh, and another cool thing they do to reward customers is that they have a point system. So for every dollar you spend, you'll earn points, and then you can redeem those points for cash towards future orders. Also, just for transparency, TC Guardian isn't paying me to say any of this. I'm just a huge fan of their product. The last major thing to happen in February was I made my first website sale on February 20th, just 4 days after launching my website. And we'll talk more about the website later when we cover my challenges. Before we go over my accomplishments for the month, I would just like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch this video. It really does mean a lot. I'm not an expert when it comes to running a successful business, and I don't have a lot of credibility in the space yet either. I'm just some random guy on the internet doing my best. I have a full-time job, I work a part-time job once a week, and I try to run this business with whatever free time I can muster while also being present for my wife and daughter. And I can't promise that I'll have amazing results to show off either. But Hopefully, with watching me, you'll learn from all of my successes and you'll learn even more from my failures. So, with that said, let's dive into my successes for the month. My first little victory for the month was hitting TCG Player Seller Level 4, which I hit only 18 days after starting my seller account. The second success was becoming an affiliate for TC Guardian, which, like I already mentioned, is a product that I use and absolutely love. Then I made my first sale through my website, hdcollectibles.com, and I was mainly able to make this sale because of connections I've already made in the Pokemon community. I'm a part of PokePair's Discord channel. For those of you who haven't heard of them, they're a fantastic PokeTuber couple who give a lot back to the community. Anyways, I let them know that I launched my website and they allowed me to broadcast it in their Discord channel. So, for those of you who are also starting businesses, always be sure to try to make genuine connections. You never know what will come of it, especially if you're authentic, honest, and a generally likable person. And the last achievement I made in February actually happened on the very last day, the 28th. I hit 100 YouTube subscribers, which was my goal for the month, so that's pretty exciting. But I definitely had more challenges and mistakes in February than I had successes. So let's get into those right now. Many people throughout history have said you learn a lot more from your failures than you do your successes. So I had to do a lot of learning during the month of February. And hopefully reviewing these mistakes will help you avoid them. My first mistake was entering cards incorrectly on TCG Player. I had one case where I accidentally listed a card in the wrong condition, and I had another case where I listed a specific card as a deck exclusive variant when it wasn't. In both cases, I offered refunds to the buyers and apologized for the inconvenience that it caused. Luckily, I did catch the deck exclusive error before I sent the card out, so I was able to issue a refund and list the card as the appropriate listing. Now, I am much more careful when listing cards. The next mistake I made was not properly protecting an eBay order. I shipped a card in a top loader and bubble mailer, but it still arrived damaged to the buyer. I gave them a full refund too. And I fixed this mistake by changing my packaging method, which has gotten me feedback like this. And just an FYI, I'll be releasing a video on how I package orders for eBay, so you can get feedback like that too. My next mistake was sending out a TCG Player order too late. I didn't pay attention to when the 48-hour mark would pass, and I was super busy over those couple days. So I ended up getting a reminder email from TCG Player telling me that I needed to ship the order. So now I process orders every other day, regardless of how tired or busy I am. Remember that Uline order I mentioned? Well, yet another mistake I made was ordering a box that is too small to actually ship. I ordered a box that would fit the Terrestrial Festival booster boxes perfectly, but the issue is that it's too small for a shipping label. And neither of the shipping platforms I use, Stamps.com and Shippo, support the use of 6x3 shipping labels. So I had to spend more money to buy a slightly bigger box that would actually fit the 4x6 labels. And this next one might be a mistake, but it's a little too early to tell at this point. I might have branched out and started my website just a little too soon. I spent most of the cash I had on hand on Japanese booster boxes to stock my website. And despite getting occasional traffic and being priced rather competitively, I haven't sold that many booster boxes. And had I taken that cash and bought collections with it, I might have been able to churn through that inventory a little bit quicker. And the last mistake that I made was my worst one. I dedicated too much time to making YouTube content and not enough time to actually listing cards and running my business. And for the record, I didn't make a ton of content either. It's just that the videos I did make took a ton of time between making the title and thumbnail, writing the script, filming, and especially the editing. Every video I posted took me a ton of time. And this misuse of time led to a slower sales month than I was expecting, which you'll see in just a second when we dive into the numbers. First, I'll review the income I made for the month. I had one in-person sale, several TCG Player and eBay sales, and one sale on my website. After we cover the income, we'll go over the expenses, and lastly, we'll go over the profitability for the business so far. Toward the beginning of the month, I was able to make an in-person sale for $205 in cash. And since it was a cash transaction, I didn't have to pay any fees. I sold a handful of singles to a collector I met on Facebook. And when we met, we actually had a great conversation, and I ended up sharing some tips on how he can sell cards on TCG Player too. And next, I'll go over my sales on TCG Player. I had 45 orders for a total of $524.95 in gross sales. And after all the fees and refunds for the month, I was left with $406.04 in net sales. eBay really came in clutch towards the end of the month. I didn't have many cards, if any at all really, listed throughout the month, but in the last week of the month, I made sure to list several cards for sale. Because of this rush at the end, I was able to sell 13 total cards for $751.75. Which came to $563.31 after fees, refunds, and shipping. The final sale I'm going to review is the one website sale I made on hdcollectibles.com. That one sale was for $115.94, which after processing fees was $109.66. And just so you know, I'm running a launch sale on my website, so be sure to take advantage of the savings while they last. That final transaction brought my gross sales number to $1,597.64. And after all the fees and refunds I paid, my net income for the month was $1,284.01. Next, we'll get into expenses. I paid $65.80 for postage and shipping through Stamps.com and Shippo. And this number doesn't include the shipping for eBay sales because those were already factored in with my net sales. Like I said earlier, I spent $1,484.93 on Japanese booster boxes to stock my website, and $711.41 in total on shipping supplies to actually fulfill orders. And my last expense of note was my Adobe Creative Cloud subscription for $42.89, which brings my total expenses for the month to $2,305.03. And as you can probably already tell, we had another negative month, which is to be expected since we're just starting out. Our profitability for the month of February was negative $1,021.02. So that makes the running total for profitability for the business so far negative $2,092.61. Luckily, this number is still very manageable, and I expect it to stay about the same or maybe even decrease as time moves forward. I still have a decent amount of my collection to sell through, and now I'm sitting on several Japanese booster boxes in my inventory. And speaking of things improving as time moves forward, I do have some business goals for March, so let's get into those now. My first goal for March is to actually launch my opening channel here on YouTube. My plan for this channel is to showcase my collection, record my rip sessions, and live stream rip and ships. Which brings me to my second goal. I hope to do my first rip and ship live stream either in March or April. My third goal is to drive more traffic to my website. I hope to do this by posting more content and possibly working with other content creators. And finally, my last goal is something I actually haven't talked about before. I hope to hit the sign-up bonus for my business credit card. I got a Chase Ink business card when I first started my business, and I've been putting all of my purchases on there to earn cash back and to make progress towards the sign-up bonus. And now that we've gone over the goals, I cannot wait to see what this next month brings. If you're interested in following me along on my journey, be sure to check out this playlist up here.